So the Nissan bailout deal is officially dead. It turns out Nissan didn't want to be subsumed by Honda. Yes, it wasn't a merger. It was really Honda taking over Nissan, and Nissan had decided in the end they'd rather go bankrupt than have that actually happen. As a result, the deal's been cancelled, and now Nissan are officially looking for someone else to bail them out. Someone who will save them without them having to become their overlords. Hello, my friends. Welcome to the channel. I'm Sam Evans. You're watching the Electric Viking. Great to have you with us. Nissan, make no mistake, they are not pulling out of this deal and saying we can survive on our own. Now, I'm warning you now, if you buy a Nissan car, it's an extremely risky position. Nissan are doing some extreme things. One of them, they're offering 10-year warranties to customers. They're saying, even if you've got an old Nissan, we're going to give you a 10-year warranty as long as you get the car serviced with us. Come back into Nissan, get a service on your old car, pay us a couple $100, and then we'll give you a 10-year warranty, as long as you continue to service your car with us. But that means by the time these cars are 8, 9, even 10 years old, they're going to be breaking down. There's no doubt about it, they will be breaking down. You're talking hundreds and hundreds of thousands of kilometers. They have a 300,000 kilometer warranty on them. Remember, cars, internal combustion cars, only last on average for 200,000 kilometers. I mean, Nissan are doing this. Why? Because they need the money. They need the short-term funds from servicing these cars. It's a big risk though, right? Nissan are saying, last year we made a loss. Our sales are going down. How do we get some money? How do we get some money right here, right now, today? Short-term gain, long-term pain. That's what Nissan has decided to do. And this is a really, really dangerous move. Now, it's been reported that Nissan are looking for a new partner because the Honda so-called merger, I mean, they called it a merger just to help Nissan save face, because saving face is obviously very important in Asia, but it was not a merger. I mean, Honda was going to be in charge of this new company. So as you can see, Nissan didn't want to become a subsidiary of Honda. It wanted to become an equal partner, which is insane considering Honda is worth 5 times more than Nissan. And Honda is not in a position where it has to have someone bail it out. It's crazy. The ego here at Nissan, you can see it on full display here. Nissan had a get out of jail free card, right? It's not in a financial position to support itself. It's basically Fisker. And along comes someone, says, okay, we'll bail you out. Honestly, it's so insane, this deal. I mean, the media said to Honda's CEO, how does this benefit you? How does this benefit you? And he couldn't come up with an answer. He was like, and he said something. It was like, really, he didn't have an answer. Overnight, Bloomberg reported word from insiders that Nissan is now actively looking for a new company to bail it out. They're saying to partner with, as it's now unlikely to merge and form a joint holding company with Honda. Now, according to those who spoke to people with word on the inside of what's going on here, Nissan is looking for a partner that would ideally be from the technology sector and US based in a bid to recapture some of its lost sales in the North American market. Weird, right? I mean, that really narrows it down. Nissan are saying US based because it sees itself being able to recapture its lost sales in the United States, where it won't have to compete against Chinese players. That's the key point. Why do they care about the US car market? Well, no Chinese competitors. They're like, well, that's a free market. It's open to us. Okay, let's try and get some sales. Let's try and get some market share back in the United States where we don't have to really compete. It's true. So they're looking for a technology company, based company in the United States. Well, there's really only one car company in a position to do this. The only company is Tesla. Who else is there? Lucid, come on. Lucid are not capable of doing this, and they're not even a technology company. They make good EVs. Rivian, all right, Rivian. Are Rivian in a financial situation to bail out another company? Hell no, they lose money every quarter. So there's only one technology-based car company in the United States that's in a financial position to bail Nissan out, and that's Tesla. But Tesla, there is zero chance of Tesla wanting to do this. I mean, Musk says some erratic things, but he's not that stupid. Come on. Both Nissan and Honda have said during the past week that they are continuing negotiations despite multiple reports from insiders. The merger is effectively dead in the water. What's happened here, I think, as well, is I think Honda have put on some very stringent conditions on Nissan. They've said you have to triple profits. Nissan made no profit last year, so whatever triple profits mean, I don't know. But they were meant to triple their profits this year. And was that going to happen? No, there's no way for Nissan to do that. It's not possible. I mean, it's like trying to get water out of his rock. It's crazy. It was never going to happen. I think Nissan sort of knew that. And I think at the same time, Honda knew that this was a bad idea. Honda, good decision from Honda. If Honda need to partner with anyone, it should be a Chinese EV company. If you're going to partner with, look at what Volkswagen are doing, partnering with XPeng and partnering with SAIC, Stellantis partnering with Leap Motors. The best thing that Honda or Nissan can do is try to find a partner in China. That's their only choice to stay alive here. Recent comments made by sources to Reuters showed that merger talks could potentially restart, but are fairly unlikely. The carmakers have previously announced they would develop a framework for the proposed merger by mid-February before committing to a definitive agreement, laying out the specifics of the deal, including share transfers by June 2025 and merging in mid-2026. But there is some other complications here. Now, what I think actually happened is this period of time, the last month, it's given Honda enough time to think through this deal, to look at Nissan's finances, to say to themselves, okay, Nissan has this bond payment of $7 billion coming up, which they can't pay. Their own executives admitted that. Okay, their sales are actually going down everywhere. Okay, what EV technology do they have? Well, that EV technology is really part of the Renault, Nissan, Mitsubishi alliance. Does Nissan even own the IP to that technology? No, Renault does. Okay, what are we actually getting here other than debt, right? And a brand, debt and a brand. But to be fair, I mean, the Nissan brand, I don't think it carries any more kudos than many other brands. So I'm not really convinced that that's an advantage, because the Honda brand still has more cachet in most countries worldwide than Nissan does. Now, the Nissan, Renault, Mitsubishi alliance, that's still in place. And this is a really complicated, I would say, cluster. Yeah, you get what I'm saying? Seriously, I mean, this was founded in 1999 between Renault and Nissan before Mitsubishi joined in 2016. Now, Honda hates this alliance, and they said, we want you to get out of that alliance. The problem is, that means Renault has to agree to sell their stake in Nissan. Now, obviously, Renault only recently reduced its stake in Nissan from 43.4% to the current 35.7%. So, to some degree, I mean, Renault is still a very powerful stakeholder in Nissan. In a report, Reuters was told by a spokesperson for Renault that it would vigorously defend the interests of the group and its stakeholders. So it looks like Renault didn't want this to go ahead either, which is kind of insane. I don't understand what Renault's thinking. Mitsubishi was due to decide on whether it's joining the merger by the end of January 2025. A report last month by the Japan News, citing unidentified sources, said the brand is making arrangements to exist outside of the merger. So, in other words, Mitsubishi pulled out. They decided it wasn't going to work for them. Now, Mitsubishi is actually very at risk of going bankrupt as well. They just don't sell enough cars. They don't. They are now basically completely dependent on the US car market. If Mitsubishi's car sales were to decline in the United States, the company would be finished. They would have to have someone purchase them. There would be no other solution. Nissan is Mitsubishi's largest shareholder, but it recently sold off an undisclosed portion of its 34% stake in the company. The news of the Honda-Nissan merger likely being completely called off, well, this comes only a few months after Nissan said it was entering emergency mode with plans to reduce production capacity worldwide by 20% and shut down numerous factories and fire 9,000 employees. This was followed by the Financial Times reporting a senior official close to Nissan who said, we have 12 or 14 months to survive. Now, it was said that that person was actually a Nissan executive saying we have 12 to 40 months to actually survive because we can't pay these huge payments, these huge bond payments. Remember, Nissan's loans, interest rates are higher than their rivals. When your debt is rated junk, you have to pay a higher interest rate. You're considered a higher risk. I mean, think about it. If you're someone that's going to give someone money, you've got to be thinking to yourself, what's the risk here? Is it risky for me to give BYD $1 billion or Nissan $1 billion? Obviously, giving Nissan that $1 billion, there's a damn good chance you're never going to get it back again. Therefore, you're going to make the interest rate percentage higher because you need to get a high return on that big risky investment. And that's part of Nissan's problem here. because their margins continue to fall. Why are their margins falling? I mean, their margins are non-existent right now. That's one of the key reasons. The proposed merger would have made the Japanese alliance the world's third largest car maker. Technically, sort of, I think BYD is, but anyhow, that's based on 2024 production volumes behind Toyota and the Volkswagen Group. By the end of 2025, though, I think you'll find that BYD would have been bigger anyway. In 2024, Honda produced 3.7 million vehicles, which was actually down 12%. So they're in struggle street too. However, 3.14 million vehicles came off Nissan's production lines. That was down 9%, totaling approximately 6.9 million vehicles. Now, even though the companies look like they sold similar amounts of cars, globally in 2024, I mean, you're talking about a difference of only 600,000. Honda is actually worth far more than Nissan. In fact, its market cap is 5 times higher. And that shows you that investors are what they honestly think of Nissan as a company. Mitsubishi produced only 944,700 vehicles, 7.7% less. So all these Japanese automakers' sales are going down, and that's not going to change anytime soon. You're looking at a decline for Mitsubishi of just under 8%, for Nissan of 9%, and for Honda of 12%. 2025, will it be a nicer year for any of these companies? No. I mean, tell me, what are they going to do? This is literally a Kodak period of time. We're looking at an era where we're going from the old school analog Japanese cars with manual gearboxes and 2-liter turbocharged engines, or even these, 3-cylinder, highly strung engines. That was the era of the Japanese dominance, right? That was Japan taking over the US automotive industry. That was Japan even taking over a huge portion of the Chinese car market. But all of that is finished. We're talking about enormous disruption. The auto industry is not standing still, but the Japanese kind of are. To be honest, they still operate with very old school principles. I mean, a lot of the companies in Japan, it's not about how good you are, it's about how long you've been there for. It's not really a merit-based system, but that is a big problem. That means it costs these companies much more to manufacture their cars in Japan, or anywhere else for that matter. And as a result, they're not competitive. Their software isn't competitive. The EV technology isn't competitive. The efficiency of their cars is not competitive. Do they do gigacasting to reduce the weight of their cars, massively increase production speeds, increase the efficiency, increase the safety? No, they don't do that. They don't do anything really that these new modern Chinese car brands, that Tesla, that those guys are doing. And as a result, it's all coming crumbling down. What are your thoughts? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Let me know in the comments.